I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Amanda Lenehan, author of Peeking into Type 1 Diabetes. Amanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
You ready to get started?
Sure am.
All right, let's get going. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Okay, so I'm a first-time author myself. I've always written ideas and thoughts down, but I kind of fell into writing this book when my son started school. He has type 1 diabetes, and I felt there was no real a simple book that explained what type 1 diabetes all entails, to be able to help him explain to his mates. So I just decided to sit down and give it a go. So saying that, my advice would be to have an audience in mind. My audience is younger kids, the general public too, because not everyone knows much about type 1 diabetes. But mainly the kids, so therefore the language had to be simple and the message had to be simple. So there are also a few other points that I wanted to get across as a mum, but I removed them because they were my thoughts rather than what kids and my audience needed to know. So I guess if you have an audience in mind, especially with a non-fiction book, you can work from there.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
As I said, I started off a little differently, and I'm still feeling my way through it all. After writing the first draft of my book and drew a couple of pictures, I took it into our clinic appointments to see what our paediatrician and diabetes educators thought of it. They absolutely loved the idea and had some pointers for me, some medical advice regarding the words. So I took almost a year to do it, back and forth a couple of drafts, and finished my drawings. And by the third draft, that was it. It's only quite a small book, as it's a children's book, so I don't have a lot of words in it. But to my surprise, they ordered 50 copies straight off the bat. I didn't know what to do. So I sat on it for a while. I was wondering how I was going to do this, being new to it all. I looked into publishers, and it's a difficult genre because majority of them weren't taking children's books or unsolicited manuscripts, and it's also difficult because my book is medically inclined. So I decided not to go down that path. I decided to look into some local printing companies. I found one that I felt comfortable with and went in and ordered 300 copies. So for me, it was and still is sometimes believing in my book that has been the hardest part. I've had to push myself into a world I knew nothing about, and I find that difficult. It's something that I know nothing about, so therefore, learning all this new and jumping into it. So believing in the book would be my hardest part of getting published.
And please share a marketing strategy that you have used with your book that has worked well.
Yeah, as I said, the hospital taking the first 50 books, I guess, was my launch to for the book. So I set up my own website and jumped onto social media. That's where most of the book purchases have come through. They've come through from all parts of Australia and different places around the world through this social media. And as I mentioned, it's a medically inclined book, so it's a particular audience and therefore a bit of a niche market. So I kind of had to work that angle. So I've contacted diabetes organisations, sent my book to many diabetes departments here in Australia at the hospitals, along with government departments. And I've been in contact with many organisations around the world. It's been small and slow, but and hard work. But this is what I guess you have to do if you're self-published. You have to be the face of it all and do all the groundwork and everything to get the message out there. We've also given away so many books, sometimes for marketing and publicity, but usually it's just to help the people out, the families out. I met these families that have just been really diagnosed, and I just love handing my book, and my son's it's my son's story. He's the subject and the star, and he also loves handing the book out, a signed copy of the book, and it's a personal story, I think, that makes the connection. And I've had some fabulous feedback from parents saying the kids relate so well to the story, to Isaac, who is the character of the story, and, that it could actually be them. So, so that's really it. Social media and, just networking for me has been my major marketing strategy.
Now let's talk about your favorite book. So what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it? I
had a couple, but this one's a book from my teenage years. I read it numerous times back then. I was a bit of a bookworm then. It's a lot harder now with three young kids to pick up a book. But The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton has always stuck with me. I had a hard time when I was a teenager with quite a bit of trauma with the death of one of my best friends and my own illness, which secluded me from friends in school. So I related well to The Outsiders. The story, it's always stuck with me. It's one of those books that keeps coming back in the memories, So they found it hard to fit in. I did the characters in that story, found it hard to fit in. When I think of the story these days, I guess I learn everyone has challenges and hardships. We get through these parts in our life and we find the right people to support us. And that, I've done when it comes back to the type 1 side of things. I found my little group of people that, I've connected with, and that's the real support. So yeah, that would be it.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
The pursuit of perfection often impedes improvement by George Will. I'm a perfectionist. I always have. That's my downfall. With type 1 diabetes management, there is no perfection. And with writing the book, there's no perfection. I could have sat on it and gone back and fixed every detail of the drawings and the words and everything like that. I've learned that, it's taken many years to understand and come to terms with that. So perfection has taken its toll on me and my work. I've had to take a step back to remind myself that it can't be perfect. It's okay not to be perfect. Remove the pressure and the comparison. I can get to where I want to go.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenges. I think most authors that I know, we're all perfectionists, and the thing is, you just got to get your information out there. You got to get that book done, because done is better than perfect, to paraphrase a famous quote.
And that's what my husband says to me too. For a lot of things, that's the quote he uses as well.
Well, Amanda, I want to thank you for being a guest on our show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
My website for the book is the title of the book, which is peakingintotype1diabetes.com.au. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram with the same name, Peaking into Type 1 Diabetes. So on that, those are the main ways of contacting me. And even in that, I try and sort of share information about type 1 diabetes, like a blog and things like that. So that's the best way, I guess.
All right, Amanda. Well, again, thank you for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.